Hi everybody, my name is Alex and welcome to my creative wall, let's call it that. And today we're going to talk about how to make a conspiracy theory. This video, in both theme and I guess format, was inspired by Milo Rossi's video. I asked some questions about the base procedure pyramid and he tried in that video to make a conspiracy theory. And I think in a lot of ways he succeeded in showing how easy it is to find random facts and factoids and try to make a correlation between them. However, I also think he failed in telling a convincing story. Now, Milo is an archaeologist, and with his degree he is very good at debunking these things because he knows about stones and civilizations, and he knows how things work. He knows how to find the scientific data to debunk these myths. Now, people don't believe in conspiracy theories because they presented with undisputable facts. I think they believe in conspiracy theory because they believe in a convincing story. Now, I'm no scientist. I have no degree in any scientific subject, so I can't go back and tell nearly as a comprehensive debunking that Milo can. But I went to film school, so I'm actually really well certified to pull a good story out of my ass. And that is what we're going to do today. We're gonna make shit up. We're gonna look at data, just like Milo did in his video, but we're gonna make a better story. So now, when I've completely dissed on Milo's storytelling skills, let's talk about what a story needs. In the absolute simplest terms, a story involves two characters and a conflict between them. A classical fairy tale like Little Red Riding Hood, we have Little Red Riding Hood and her mother. They have a conflict over which way she's going to go to her grandmother's house. That conflict is resolved by Little Red Riding Hood not listening to her mother and then gotten eaten by a wolf. Now, how do a conspiracy theory fit over the two characters and a conflict problem? Well, a character does not need to be a single human individual. A character can be a society. So, the one character is the Egyptians' pre-pyramid building, pre-civilization society. By the conspiracy theories, stupid, non-white people who can't cut square corners or stack stones on top of one another. The other character is the aliens. Super advanced aliens that can travel faster than light, presumably, in great big spaceships and have more or less infinite places in the universe to be, but chose to come to Earth. Now, these two characters has a conflict. Now, this is not a violent one. This is one about knowledge. Presumably in this story, the alien sees the Egyptians and thinks to himself, oh, these poor things that don't know how to cut square corners and stack stones one up to one another. We better land and teach them how to build a society and pyramids, presumably. Now, from what I understand, most of these conspiracy theories usually end with the aliens leaving and thereby leading to societal collapse, and thereby we don't know why the aliens wanted the pyramids built. Now, this is a great storytelling device because it leaves us not to argue what the pyramids are for. Now, here I think what Milo did wrong. He tried to make a conspiracy to argue why the base procedure pyramid was built or what it did. And that is actually something I have not seen very many conspiracy theories do. They use the fact that pyramids or other megalithic structures exist to point out that ancient people had advanced technology given to them by giants, aliens, Atlanteans, or whoever else there was. But they do not try to explain what the pyramids were for. They speculate. Because it's much easier to say, hey, this is a sign that they had super advanced technology. instead of saying, hey, the Great Pyramid of Giza was actually a nuclear reactor. Because once you said it, it's kind of easy to disprove. The only thing you have to do is go to Giza, walk into a pyramid, and you will find no sign of a nuclear reactor. You just see a dead dude in a lot of bandages. Now they usually use this base story to give kind of an epilogue side story, and that's actually the more dangerous one, because that story is again about two characters and a conflict. Now the characters here are the conspiracy theories, the truth seekers, those who understand the truth about the pyramid or aliens or who killed JFK or whoever else, versus the established scientific community or society or whoever disagrees with them. And that's the danger of conspiracy theories, because then they got in and then slowly they are led to believe that society, mainstream science, is against them, is against seeing truth, is holding things back from them. And this is a dangerous one, because once you're beginning to point to other people and saying, we would have a better life if they didn't exist, we begin to sound a lot more authoritarian. We begin to sound a lot more like cult leaders, dictators, that kind of stuff. So if I was a manipulator who wanted to manipulate people into an echo chamber so I could do more with them, so I could manipulate them more, what would be the best kind of conspiracy theory to feed them to begin with? Well, we could feed them one and then slowly turn them into us versus them. But there actually exists a kind of conspiracy theory that does it to begin with, where we incorporate the us versus them into the theory. These are the theories like the ones on 9/11, that the government was behind 9/11. Already there we have the for us versus them mentality. The government was behind 9/11 and we the people are against it. So we are against the government. It already has this us versus the government, us versus the establishment implemented into them. Now, could we make a conspiracy theory about the base procedure pyramid that already includes a us versus them mentality? Probably. But I'm not going to take all of Milo's hard work. I already stolen his format and his idea. So I'm not going to steal the base procedure pyramid from him. I'm going to ask my own questions about this. We are going to talk about Børsen. Now, Børsen is a Danish landmark. It's in Copenhagen. It's a 400-year-old building, and it has been the center for trade for many of those years. Børsen also is the name of the building, yes, but it's also the name, is the Danish word for stock exchange, is Børsen. Because this building housed the stock exchange for so many years. Now, the reason I've chosen to make my conspiracy theory about Børsen is that we have an opportunity. Because on the 16th of April, Børsen burned. It burned down and collapsed. Most of the building was destroyed. This means we have a conflict. Somebody wants Børsen burned and somebody wants it saved. Now, I don't know if we, the people, the underdog in this conspiracy theory, wants to save Børsen or burn it, because I'm not that far in the conspiracy theory yet. So let us now ask some questions about Børsen. So I'm not going to use ChatGPT to get all my information just like Milo did, although it's a wonderful idea. What I am going to do is to very lazily look up things on Wikipedia, and we're going to use the things we find interesting and not necessarily all of the things. So first of all, here is the location, is the coordinates of Børsen. We also have its height. It's 56 meters high. It's 21 meters wide. And the building is around 138 meters long. Now, what else do we know? We know it was built in 1623 by the Danish king, King Christian IV. Now the next important thing in the building history is in 1647 the building was sold to the businessman Jacob Madsen. Now Jacob Madsen had actually rented a trading spot in the building since it was built, it seems. So the next major thing is that while under Jacob's care, the building was renovated in 1745. But apparently it wasn't a good job because it was then, the tower was then replaced in 1775. Now the next thing is another renovation in 1855, this time taking place under the king, who has regained control of the building after Jacob Madsen died and his widow couldn't keep the maintenance up basically. So the king took back the building until at least 1857, where the current king at that time, Frederick VII, sold the building to something called the Grocer Society. Now the Grocer Society was a trade group for grocers, so these represented a large portion of grocers in Copenhagen, later all of Denmark, and basically tried to affect the king and the later government to make better, basically make life easier for grocers. Now these guys actually still exist in a shape or form today, as the Grocer Society merged with other trade unions throughout the years, and today it's called Danish Erhverv, or the Danish Business Council. It's not a governmental group, it's a trade group basically going in to say promote, that's made up of Danish business owners trying to make life easier for Danish business owners. So if we continue our timeline from 1875, the next important thing happened in 1918. This is the year where the attack on Børsen happened. Now the attack on Børsen was an event, a one-day event in the middle of the First World War. Now Denmark was neutral in the First World War, but our economy was severely hit by Germany and Britain and the other warring parties basically sucking up all the resources for their own wartime production. This meant that there was huge unemployment in Denmark because factory had to shutter. Now many of the rich business owners shut their factory down, fired all their employees and invested their money into the stock market, which still functioned pretty well and where we could still make money. So we had a lot of unemployed people that was angry at the elite basically. And one day in 1918, these guys, unemployed anarchists, hardcore socialists and communists, joined together, armed themselves with bats and sticks and broke into Børsen, where they beat all the stock exchange salesmen to a bloody pulp. Now as we continue the timeline, 1974 is where the stock exchange officially moved out of the building. Now this doesn't mean the building turned into a museum or anything else. It was still owned by what is now called Danish Erhverv. And that is basically what brings us today to the year of 2014, where the building burned down. Now Børsen burned, and that actually attracted the police department, the fire department, and people began to save things. On top of it being a very historic building, it also have a lot of historic artwork inside. So the National Museum actually sent 25 people to help the firemen save the building or save the artwork. So basically the National Museum sent 25 guys to run into a burning building to save the artwork. And it's not just the National Museum that sent people. Actually, there is video of the Danish Royal Lifeguard sending military personnel to help with the fire as well. Now, the Danish lifeguard is the guys who normally protects the king, but these were also seen coming to assist the fire department in helping save the building. Now, with the fire raging and all kind of weird people coming in to help, we also had a lot of people just coming with support. People, of course, like the Danish Prime Minister, Mette Frederiksen, who is out and giving support to the people helping set the fire off, turn the fire off, and basically say it's a damn shame that this building burned. But she was not alone. A wide number of politicians, but also in the government, but also in the opposition, like Søren Espersen, who is an opposition member, came out and said it's a bad day for Denmark, basically because this building burned. Now we have the information, now we have all this information, and it's time to make a story. We need two characters. One who wants Børsen to burn, and one who saved Børsen. So when I'm going to tell my story, just to make sure nobody takes me seriously, and nobody's going to cut this part, the coming part of this video, and use this as an argument and say, hey, look at this white guy with a funny accent who tells the truth. I'm going to go and basically make myself a tinfoil hat so nobody takes me serious and nobody can cut my hopefully brilliant future conspiracy theory out and use it to trick others. So, our story begins in 1623 with King Christian IV building Børsen. Now that continues just as normal. Now, his friend Jacob Madsen. Now Jacob Madsen is a tradesperson born in nowadays Sweden, but that time it was part of Denmark. Jacob Madsen was a very rich person. He basically made his money selling timber and food to the Danish Navy. Now at that point Denmark had one of the largest navies in Europe, and basically being the one-stop shop for wood and food made Jacob Madsen a very rich man. Now he was basically scared for his life because he might think himself, due to his business, to be irreplaceable, but we were also in a time where king had all power and could basically chop the head off anybody he deemed fit for it. So Jacob Madsen decided to get himself some insurance. Now he got some dirt on Christian IV, and he basically told his wife, Karahan, that if Jacob Madsen, Jacob Madsen, died under mysterious circumstances or was arrested and killed by the king, that Karahan should take a journalist or politician to the spiraling tower on top of Børsen and see what was written there. Now, Jacob Madsen died of natural causes, so Karahan, his widow at that point, did never go up into the tower to find out what her late husband meant about it. However, Karahan was not as business savvy as her late husband, so she ended up basically needing a bailout. She was approached by the king that basically offered her, hey, do you want a piece of land that you basically can use as your retirement home? Instead, I'm just gonna take this back. Now that was not because the king knew about the dirt Jacob Madsen had on Christian IV. Now this was just a usual business inquiry. The king could get back the main trading hall in all of Scandinavia and thereby tax and collect rent for it, for basically giving out a piece of basically junk dirt in the outskirts of Denmark. That was a very good deal. Now she did it without knowing that Jacob Madsen had collected the dirt on the king and had it stored in the tower. But now the tower and the building was back under the king's control. So the royal family didn't know about this Jacob Madsen's secrets in the tower. They didn't know until the renovations of 1745. Now these were ordered by Christian VI. He basically ordered a renovation just because the building needed it. However, he was told of in the renovations basically told they found Jacob Massens. A worker found the secrets up there and went to the king, basically told them, hey, there's this dirt, it's etched into the inside of the tower. And Christian VI basically ordered the dirt to be scratched out, and that was basically what happened. The worker who found it went up, damaged the writing so much that it couldn't be read. Afterward, Christian VI got the worker arrested and executed on bogus charges. Now, this was good enough for Christian VI, but not all in the royal family felt safe yet. So when the time came to 1775, at that time King Christian VII didn't feel safe about his granddad's work, so he ordered a new spire to be added. The new spire that was constructed and put in place in 1775 was placed there because Christian VII said the tower was in risk of collapsing. Now that was a lie. Christian VII simply wanted the entire tower changed to ensure that nobody could get up there and find out Christian IV's dirt, the dirt that Jacob Madsen had found and etched in. So time goes on and everybody's basically happy with the thing. They have destroyed the evidence by the new tower in 1775. However, the crown needed money at some point. In 1855, the crown basically realized they needed money. And to sell off this old building was a very good way to make money. So at that time, King Frederick VII, that was king at the time, basically wanted to sell the building. But before that, he may not want to make sure that nothing was left in the building of Christian IV dirt. So Frederick VII ordered a second renovation of the building to basically ensure that the entire building was gone through top to bottom and any small detail, any kind of latent gift by Jacob Madsen was destroyed. So the entire renovation of 1855 was a ploy to ensure Jacob Madsen didn't leave anything else behind. When the renovation was complete in 1857, Frederick VII sold the building. So time goes on as it usually do. Now the royals was again under the impression that all the dirt on Christian IV was destroyed and nothing was left in the building. However, they were proven wrong, and they were proven wrong in 1918. This was the attack on Børsen. Now this was a major attack where hundreds of people attacked and beat up stock traders inside the building. But after people was arrested from the riot and looting and beating on Børsen, they were brought to the Copenhagen police station and brought into the care of Theodor Dybdahl. He was police chief at the time in Copenhagen. From some of the things they confiscated from the rioters, Theodor Dybdahl was brought a piece of paper including deeply disturbing facts about Christian IV. Now, Theodor Dybdahl was a royalist. He loved the current king at that time, Christian X. Now, that meant that Theodor Dybdahl basically went to the king with the evidence, and the king was very happy with Theodor Dybdahl. However, the current king, Christian X, had very little power to do anything about it. At the end of the First World War, he lost basically all political power, and with it, any possibilities of actually affecting, basically coming into this building at all. He could not order anything around. He lost basically so much power that he was afraid that if he did anything to get access to this building, he would basically, the parliament would basically dissolve the royal family and the royal household. So Christian X couldn't do anything about the secrets inside Børsen. However, this knowledge about the secrets inside Børsen were kept. This keeps us to our newest king, who still knew about it, Frederik X, the current king of Denmark. Now he still knew that I stirred inside Børsen, but there was nothing he could do until April the 16th, 2024, where Børsen burned. Now this was an accident that the Børsen was set alight. However, Frederik X managed to effect it. He sent in his Royal Life Guard, the most loyal military unit, to his protection. He sent them in not to help the National Museum evacuate artwork. No, he sent them in with one objective: to ensure that this building burned down, that as much of it as possible collapsed, because he wanted any evidence left in this building destroyed. Now we've come up with a theory of why basically every king since 1730 wanted Børsen to burn and be destroyed, to cover up the dirt Jacob Madsen had collected on Christian IV. But what dirt was it? Can we say anything about it? Well, I can only come up with one piece of dirt so powerful that our current king Christian III in the year 2024 still wants to burn this building. And that is that Christian IV's heir, Frederik III, is not Christian IV's rightful heir. Frederik III is a bastard. With Frederik III as a bastard, the entire royal line down will be illegitimate, meaning that the current king would not be heir to the Danish throne and thereby would have to give it up to whoever is Christian IV's rightful heir. Now the threat to Frederik X and the current royal household is not just that they have to abdicate the throne to whoever is the rightful heir of Christian IV, but there's also a secondary threat, because the Danish household, royal household now, is a ceremonial position. Yes, they're head of state, but it's a ceremonial head of state. And there's some cause within, not necessarily the government, but in the political circles, in public services, that said we should save the money we give to the royals by basically dissolving the royal household. Our current king don't want that to happen. He don't want to be the last king of Denmark. So there's both the threat that he will lose the throne to whoever is the rightful heir of Christian IV. There's also the threat that if we have to replace basically the entire royal family with somebody else, the Danish government might choose to, instead of replacing everybody, simply disbanding it and destroying, not destroying, but disbanding and basically ending the royal household altogether. Now this is basically the story I came up with first, but could all these days be used to make a different conspiracy? Well, basically yes. Now I could make a fine conspiracy theory about, now Christian IV built so many structures that I'm pretty sure I could draw 5 lines that would intersect these structures that could create some kind of crooked pentagram. And with the burning of Børsen, I could basically claim that Christian IV built some kind of large pentagram, and when all 5 buildings that make out the points burn down, the Antichrist will rise and destroy the world. Let's get this off. But now all these stories I just told you is untrue. They're all conspiracy theories that I came up with within the last day. And this is basically the reason why you shouldn't trust just anybody on the internet. So how can we protect ourselves against conspiracy theories? Well, the easiest way to spot one is to ask yourself, what will people get out of it? What will Dansk Erhverv get out of keeping a 400-year-old royal secret? Because Dansk Erhverv has never publicly kept out with the conspiracy theory I came up with. And nowadays, the royal household is a ceremonial role. They have no political power left. So what will a bunch of business owners get out of keeping this secret? Likewise, this can be asked of a lot of those theories that Milo Rossi debunks. What will mainstream archaeology get out of keeping alien technology or stargates a secret? Now, I don't know who funds digging up pottery shards, but I can imagine it's a very wide field of people you can ask for. However, if you have a UFO or a stargate or any piece of advanced technology that's more advanced than what we have today, I know a lot of companies and foreign governments that would basically pay infinite amount of money to you. So since we don't see archaeologists filling out the top 100 most richest people in the world, I can pretty safely say that archaeologists don't hide UFOs and stargates around, because they would be selling that shit so they could use that money to dig up actually archaeological finds. It's not cheap to dig out temples from the rainforest or Egyptian temples from the sands. Now, I hope this video shows you how easy it is for somebody on the internet to just make shit up. It took me a day to make all of this bullshit up. And by God, this is a lie. The building was not burned down by Frederick X, and there's absolutely no secret Dansk Erhverv is keeping that could tumble the royal household, at least to my knowledge. This was all my own making. But I hope that you learned a little bit from it. You learned how conspiracy field build stories, and I hope you learned how stories, specifically conspiracy fields, build stories about us versus them mentality. Oh yeah, and one more thing before I end this video. Remember to like and subscribe if you like the video and if you want to get more of whatever I make next. Probably not a video like this. I think it's gonna get scripted in the next one, because oh my god, I'm not built to make a improv video. It takes so much fucking longer. I want a script next time. But yeah, if you like the video, like it. If you want to see whatever I make next, which probably isn't a conspiracy theory video, subscribe for more. Alright, bye! I don't know if this is gonna fall off or whatever it's gonna do. It feels really loose. I should probably add some more tinfoil. But I'm gonna try this.